Last night, we met with a room full of parents and their little children, and our hearts were literally aching with the stories that we were hearing, the parents, and what we've heard from the children themselves. Parents were telling us that kids are threatening suicide. They're totally changed from what they were on May 23rd, the day before this incident. They can't leave home. They're afraid to leave home. They're afraid to even take a shower without the door being open. One child is having a nightmare that she's having a heart attack. In fact, two children. The parents are traumatized because they've seen this total night and day change in their parents, and they don't know what to do. Their kids are literally traumatized. One child was at school, in a new school, and the mother was called to come pick him up because he had wet himself. And she had to take clothes and then take him out of the school. In fact, they had to move out of Uvalde because he refused to even be in Uvalde. He was so terrified. They're having dreams and nightmares that their parents themselves may be harmed. One little child, Joseph, told us about how he had wrapped a rope around the doors and barricaded. He was and barricaded the door to keep this shooter from coming in, and he was there last night. And what the parents are concerned with is who's going to be next, whose child is going to be next. Is it going to be your child? Is it going to be your mother, your daughter, your son? Because it's not a matter of if another one of these incidents is going to happen. It's only a matter of when and to whom it's going to happen. But it's going to happen. And that's why we have now secured the chief of psychiatry at Stanford University, Dr. David Spiegel, to one, give us an opinion about the kind of trauma that these children are experiencing and what's the long-term prognosis, what the future holds for them. And he has given us a report dated just the 28th that's saying their brains are now permanently injured. The brain is a physical organ just like the leg or the knee, and it's now permanently injured because when you undergo this kind of stress, the brain releases stress chemicals that then causes the brain to be injured. It's a physical injury. It will never be the same. It's like being branded when you're on the farm, as I grew up with, branding a cow. That mark is always on their brain. And now they need therapy. He's going to conduct therapy with them and then lay out a program for future therapies going in the future. All of that is as a result of what these particular law enforcement people failed to do, their omissions, their willful, deliberate indifference to the harm that their actions would cause and that was causing at the time. So we're here to serve with our process server a courtesy copy of this $27 billion lawsuit that is seeking two things. One, compensation to take care of all of these children in this class action. These are all the survivors, everyone who was in the zone of danger, everyone who was in the classroom trying to survive, seeing the dead bodies, hearing the shots, hearing the screams, hearing the radio from the law enforcement not coming in, even though they were begging, come help us. So this lawsuit is seeking compensation for all those people in that zone of danger, plus is seeking policy changes. They want to see changes in the police department, changes in the school district that's going to guarantee their safety all the way through their lives when they're in the public arena, when they're at school. So we're here to serve a courtesy copy of the first the Uvalde Police Department itself, along with the Lieutenant Mario Pargas. You know Mario Pargas, he was out on his phone walking in and out while he was listening to this child reporting that there were dead bodies around. He went outside of the building, went into the park, came back, and then went out again. He totally showed a deliberate indifference to their suffering and their pain when they were trained to go in. So we're here to serve him, along with Sergeant Eduardo Canales, Lieutenant Javier Martinez, Sergeant Daniel Carinata, and Officer Louis Landry, along with Officer Donald Page, and Officer Justin Mendoza, of course, and serve the city itself. And what I would like to do, Mr. Lalo Castillo was there last night to relate what you heard the parents talk about as they were packed in, telling us through their tears and their pain as to what they've experienced with their children.
Well, it's it's a difficult situation because we don't realize the pain that these parents are going through. These children will be marked and injured forever if they don't get the proper care, and that's the important thing. A lot of parents don't want to get involved, and they see their children running, playing, just being normal, not realizing that, the consequences that, come after a few years, and that's very important. But the children are really just, I feel sorry for them, and unless you've lost a child, you don't understand what these families are going through, not only the ones that were here, but the ones that had experienced this, that attended the school. And so it's a very sad situation, but I'm glad that this law firm is taking this action and representing some of these families.
And Attorney Vic, tell them what you heard the parents saying last night.
I can just reiterate what you said earlier, Charles. We heard the parents literally crying out for help. That May 24th situation left an indelible mark on the kids and the parents. I mean, they're both traumatized by that incident, and we're here to try and right that wrong. It should not have happened, all right? It could have been prevented. And when you stop and think about the number of law enforcement officers who were on site, in earshot of what was going on, and they were standing around talking about who's going to make the first move. So I think some changes need to be brought about, and we're here to see that it's done.
Yeah, so this lawsuit is about three things. One, the value of our kids. The law enforcement agencies, Daniel Defense, didn't care about the value of our kids. So if you ask why $27 billion, how much is one child worth? We know that Daniel Defense in 9 years increased their sales 347%. We know that they were aware that their guns were being used not to hunt hogs and not to hunt deer, not to hunt any kind of sporting hunting, but only to hunt people. We know that, and Daniel Defense knew that because they knew their guns were used in the killings in Las Vegas, where 40 people were killed with 4 Daniel Defense AR-15s. So they were aware that their guns are killing people, and yet Daniel Defense increased their advertising. They increased it to use children to sell their guns. In the lawsuit we have against Daniel Defense, you can see the first pictures of a child saying the way you train up a child with an AR-15, and when he grows old, he will not depart therefrom. And that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what happened to this 18-year-old shooter here. It happened to the 18-year-old shooter in Buffalo, New York. It happened to that man who used the gun in Las Vegas, and it's happening again and again and again. Why? Because they do not value our children's lives. And so this 27 billion lawsuits is to let them know that we value our children's lives. The second reason this lawsuit is about preventing this from happening again. We have to have enough money to get their attention. They cannot put profits over the lives of our children. It's profits over people. That is unacceptable. And thirdly, it's about accountability. These people need to be held accountable. They have not been held accountable, and still they've been covering up. They've been pushing this under the rug. They haven't been forthcoming. I mean, even the Bible says the truth shall set you free. They won't tell us the truth. So we want accountability, and this lawsuit is going to demand accountability along with systemic policy changes to guarantee that your child would not be shot with an AR-15 and that your child would not be ignored when they call for help in the schools. Because we know it's not if another school is going to be the victim of shooting. It's only which school is going to be a victim of shooting and whose child is going to be in that school. Is it going to be your child in that school? Or is it going to be you in Walmart? Or you in a nightclub trying to enjoy your life when some 18-year-old or some other maniac deranged is going to come in and do exactly what the advertisement is saying they should do, which is to buy an AR-15 and use this machine gun to come in and shoot 100 rounds in 2 minutes, as this guy did here in Uvalde. And then what's the law enforcement going to do? They're going to come in and wait 77 minutes before they come to your help. This is unacceptable. This is un-America. This is against our constitutional principles. This is against the Constitution that says we all have a right to life and a right to liberty and a right to safety. And if it's not us, who? Our Constitution starts with we the people, not we the police department, not we the DPS, not we the governor or the legislature, but we the people in order to make a more perfect union. And it's going to take you, we the people, to protect our children. It's going to take you, we the people, to make the kind of changes that are going to prevent these kind of massacres that occurred here in Uvalde. I mean, last night we were all crying with these children. Where's Pastor Myers? Did I just see him? Yes, Pastor Myers, if you don't mind, come join us. And I would like, Pastor Myers, for you to just share the meeting we had at your church last night with all these parents who were packed in, the comments that they were telling us about their children and about their own trauma.
Last night at 3835 East Main here in Uvalde, families of the children that survived this massacre, I don't know if you can call it survive, because they are traumatized. They're hurting, they're afraid of the dark. When they see people that reminds them of the shooter, they go into a panic attack. They need to have a parent with them when they have to go to the bathroom. So these children are hurting. These children are hurting really bad. The parents, they're on pins and needles, and we're here to help. We're here to stand with them. I can't even put myself in the place of those that actually lost a child. I don't know that void. I don't know that pain. I don't know that hurt. But just what I heard last night, it's mind-boggling with these families, with these children. These children are going through it at such a tender, young age of going through what they're going through. And it just broke my heart. I teared up, and it hurts. And I talking to one of the parents today. He said, it's not about the money. It's about change. But this AR-15s, change has to happen. God forbid that there's something like this happen again somewhere else. Maybe your child, or somebody else's child. God forbid that this happens again. So, you know, if this is what it takes to wake them up, to shake them in their foundation, well, let it be so. But these children are hurting. Yeah. These children are hurting. The parents of the victims that actually lost child, God help them. All I can say is God help them, because it's painful and it hurts to see them. And people in this city, still walking around with their heads up high, with their collars standing up like nothing has happened. Sweep it under the rug, forget about it. People are saying, get over it, get over it. Everybody, life is death, death is life. Yeah, but these were not natural causes. These children were massacred. Calling 911, send the police. The police right outside the other door. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So yeah, change needs to take place today, not tomorrow, today.
Yes.
Seguro que sí. Anoche, ahí en nuestra iglesia 3835 East Main, había un grupo de familias de niños que salieron pues de esta tragedia. Estos niños están tramados hasta el fundamento de sus almas, oyendo a los padres hablar de lo que están pasando, cómo se sienten cuando salen a comer o andan haciendo mandados, quehaceres. Estos niños, mira una persona que los recuerda de este joven que mató a los niños, se asustan, luego se quieren ir para su casa porque no pueden. Y oyendo a los padres hablar de sus hijos, cómo se sienten, cómo están, tiene que haber cambio. Ahora, aquí en la ciudad hay personas que todavía se andan parando el cuello como que son algo importante, cuando ahí en la escuela de la RAB, por más de una hora, estos oficiales hicieron nada para proteger a estos niños. Tiene que haber cambios. Si se llega a este punto de multar estas agencias, que se haga. Pero algo tiene que pasar. Algo tiene que pasar.
Decías algo de que no se trata del dinero, sino de que...
Yes, uno hablando ahorita, como una media hora, hablando con un joven, me dijo, no se trata del dinero. No se trata del dinero, se trata de agarrando la atención para que haya cambio ya ahorita. No están haciendo esto para beneficiarse del dinero, están haciendo eso porque quieren cambio. El cambio se necesita ahorita. All right.
Mr. Bonner, looking at the list of people that you're representing, it's a long list of people that you're representing, but there's 21 families that aren't on there. Is there a reason that the victims' families aren't on this lawsuit?
There's no reason. We're here to represent anyone who contact us. There are many families who have lawyers, but any family who does not have lawyers, we are here to help them and to support them and to represent them. In fact, we've had clients sign up since yesterday. We're meeting with some clients and families in a few minutes when we leave this press conference, when we finish serving the scoundrels here at City Hall. We will be meeting with more clients. They're signing up every day because people are hurting and their children are hurting and they don't know what to do and there's no one helping them. So that's why you see the list here, but this list is growing every day. Vic, did you want to say?
Let us not forget about the culpability of Oasis Outback.
Yes.
Oasis Outback, which is right down the street, has very unclean hands in this particular situation. There's no way in the world they can justify selling anybody 2 AR-15 assault rifles with multiple rounds of ammunition within a week's period of time. What are you going to do with this gun? All right? What are you going to hunt with these guns? It should have raised a red flag for them. They were concerned about making a profit on that AR-15, those 2 AR-15s that they sold to this guy. There's no way in the world they can justify that. Secondarily, in our lawsuit against the gun manufacturer, I want you all to take a close-up of this ad that's been run on social media about the gun manufacturer that clearly shows a young child sitting with an AR-15 assault rifle.
And on
These
that
are
point,
the kind of ads that the gun manufacturer is putting on social media.
and if you look at this is directly from Daniel Defense, and you look at the date. The date of this ad is May 14th, 2022. And guess what happened barely 2 weeks later?
This is what we're here to combat. All right? We're here to fight for the citizens of this town. And we're going to make some changes. We're going to be responsible for making some changes.
And I understand that fight. I remember specifically at a city council meeting that you attended at the Civic Center, Nikki Cross, guardian to Uzziah, who was killed in that classroom, she said she'd never heard of this lawsuit. Is there a reason that you didn't at least reach out to the 21 families to let them know this is what we're doing, this is our mission, this is our creed? Is there a reason why you didn't make those contacts?
Very true.
No, you did a report, and this was all public. And we said at that time that we only had, I think, maybe 3 families at that time, that any family who wanted to reach out to us, please do so. As attorneys, we cannot solicit clients, and we don't solicit clients. We represent people who come to us. There are many of these families you're mentioning, they have attorneys. And if they have attorneys, ethically, we can't contact them. So all we're letting everyone know that we are servants, just like Pastor Myers. I mean, from day one, when I met Pastor Myers, we had no clients. We were just out there cleaning up the graves, cleaning up the debris from around the memorial here in the park. And from there, we met one parent, and then we met another parent. And we say, if you want us to represent you, we'll be happy to do so. These are the people, all of this list of parents have come to us. They sign up with us, they go online to our website. Sandra, my legal assistant, talks to them on the phone. Any of those parents that you are referring, if they don't have attorneys, please call us. My phone number is 415-601-0268. That's the law offices of Bonner & Bonner. The other Bonner is my son, and also you can go to our webpage, bonnerlaw.com. You can also contact my co-counsel, Mr. Vic Bonner. You can give him your contact information.
Yes, it's Vic Bonner. My phone number is 832-433-6565. My email address is vicbonneresq@gmail.com. And by the way, I'm out of Houston, Texas. So you've got a Texan here, all right, on the scene, ready to represent you. Okay?
Yeah.
Give us a call and we can be of any assistance to you. We're here to help.
And my email, incidentally, is charles@bonnerlaw.com. And again, we don't want to leave any victim behind. Anyone who is in the zone of danger, any parent who is on the school premises, any child who is in the school, any janitor, any teacher, any cafeteria worker, any bus driver who was there, who was loading on these bleeding kids who were dying and had been there for over an hour bleeding, waiting for help. Any of the people who are in the zone of danger, please contact us. This class action includes you, and we want to go forward because we don't want you to suffer in silence. And what we heard last night from a room full of parents, these parents, is that their kids are suffering in silence.
Yes.
And they have no clue as to how they're going to help these kids. But we have arranged for the chief of psychiatrists I've mentioned at Stanford University to provide the kind of psychological help that is going to be necessary for the rest of their lives. And that is what this particular $27 billion is also designated, to make sure we have the kind of health care for kids who are now 10 years old, but they're going to have health care for the next 80 years of their lives. And this $27 billion is to make sure that help, that medical help, that psychological help is there. Because we know from the soldiers who come back after being well trained, they have degrees, they've been healthy. When they go to war, they're flying planes, but when they come back, we see them homeless, we see them on drugs, we see them unemployed. Why? Because their brains have been damaged from trauma. These children's brains have been damaged in the same way the soldiers have been damaged. And we do not want to see them homeless and hungry and without work, and we're not going to. With those people who are responsible, everyone who is responsible, we will hunt them down and we will go after them and we will make them pay and take responsibility for what they've done to all these children.